Welcome everyone, Christine here with a discussion about the Old World mod by ChaosRobie. There certainly have been quite a few changes made since the last time I tried out this mod. There's hundreds of factions and well over 1,000 settlements on this particular map. So let's take a look at how things are. So you have in the corners various chaos realms. So you have over here Slaanesh based on the color. You can't see it until you actually get there or get proper line of sight as opposed to using toggle fog of war, but you do have Tzeentch in the lower left corner, Nurgle in the lower right corner, and Khorne in the upper right corner. Now these particular settlements, they are one region provinces, each and every single one of them, which can be useful for certain factions, less useful for other factions, depending on who you're talking about. And you do have a variety of minor factions present over there in the realms of chaos. Then you of course have Albion, the Albion Thunderdome. So you have Grimgor, Alifanar, Ian Bow. You can change this one, I believe, or you could, but that in itself has also been changed. You have Malice Darkblade, Be'lakor, who now does start over here with a settlement right here. Be'lakor, some Norskans, Krakgar, and Marcus Wolfheart. And it is an absolute Thunderdome. Then you have Norska, and oh my, is Norska gigantic in this particular version of Warhammer 3. In Norska, you have Lokir, finding a bunch of Norskans over here. You have Village in the upper side of the map. Oxiatl as well, close enough to him. Sisters of Twilight, right here. Silustra, for whatever reason, they decided, ChaosRobie decided to put Silustra right there. We do have the Scaling, who do have quite a bit of territory right here in Norska by the looks of it. But it's not just them. You have the Cult of Ulrich. You also have like Warriors of Chaos right here. And I believe like Order of the Blazing Sun present in there as well. And then right here in the middle, Boris Ursus and the Forest of Knives. So you have like Grumbrindle, Oxiatl, Boris Ursus in relative close proximity to one another, so you can have some of the biggest chads, if you will, fighting alongside each other against the forces of chaos. And there are forces of chaos. You've got Azazel, you've got Village right there, you've got the Demon Prince as well present in this location, and then you have Trog, who starts a war with the Brotherhood of the Bear. He starts with the lair of the Troll King. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without Skarbrand. So the Norskan situation does seem to be very, very interesting. And then you have Krokodrak as well present over here. Though Krokodrak is actually split between two factions. So you have one dwarf faction right here. Really good icon work, I gotta say, I really appreciate it. And then, yeah, Krokodrak itself controlling most of the East Giant Home mountains. Then you have Hellpit, the 9 circles of hell. Now these are, most of these are just minor settlements. Like you look at the pit bottom, there's only one building slot, and the capital only has 3 building slots. But then in the gates of hell, you do have proper settlements, but you don't have that in Hellpit. So there is a good amount of potential over here, though you will obviously only reach this full potential as fraught and clean once you get to the top, where you will be more vulnerable. Though you don't necessarily have a lot of natural enemies for a while, at least no major factions. That's one of the things to mention about this mod compared to how things do play out in the vanilla experience. Because in vanilla, you can't go a long distance without encountering a legendary lord. So a lot of legendary lords do end up getting wiped out, whereas here, the legendary lords are spaced out enough that they will survive. Most of them will survive for a decent length of time. Some of them can be wiped out it used to be that Oxyatl was in a danger zone. Archeon is right here at the top in the Shroudlands, just fighting a bunch of Norskans right here. They are in his way. And then you've got Dervingard as Kislev standing in his way, more Norskans as well. And then we have Tamarkan right here in the plateau and Expanse right there on his own safety net. And he's actually close enough to Kairos. Now, Tsinch and Nurgle do hate each other, so I imagine he would be potentially a natural rival. And then you have Malachi Makason. You've got Tsinch and you've got Archeon close enough to you, but you're actually in a relatively safe starting location, because you do have these three settlements close enough to each other, and Malachi is really, really powerful. Got a feel for Astrogoth, though, because he starts close enough to Malachi. That can be a bit of a problem for him to deal. And then we keep moving over here. Like, I do like the level of detail. Like, clearly some more detail has been added. The way the terrain is, it's no longer really just a lot of flat locations. I mean, never was, but there were certainly a lot of flat land. That's not quite the case anymore. But yeah, you do have Astrogoth over here in Uskalak. He's a decent distance away from Zarnagrund. And oh my, you gotta love Zarnagrund. Holy shit, does Zarnagrund look freaking amazing. When you think of a major industrial powerhouse controlled by the castors, you think of this. Wow, this is like top tier quality right here, like in terms of map design. Sure, there's still a lot of open spaces over here, but that is superb work right there. You have Astrogoth close enough to Valkia, which, yeah, well, you should be able to get along well with Valkia if you're playing Astrogoth, but yeah, you do have a bunch of Chaos factions, but you do have Malachi close enough to you. Then you have either Xiaoming or Miaoying. You can choose who you're going to have in this particular location at the crossroads of the world. And then then you have Zarnagrund and the Mountains of Mor right here, filled with, like, you can see that there's a bunch of ogres, there's greenskins, as you might expect over here, Knights of Bretonnia for whatever reason, for whatever odd reason, Carrick Zorn over here as well, and all the way down here we have Greases. Now, this is basically, I would say, like the northern part of the Mountains of Mor, not necessarily all of it. So yeah, you got, like, a lot of the mountains would be to the east over here. But you do have Creases starting in the giant rocks right here. And you do have some interesting stuff over here, like the Sentinels or the rocket test site over here, which gives you Death Shrieker rocket launcher benefit. And also a Hellstorm rocket benefit if you're playing as the Empire. I think it does change depending on which faction you are playing. Zaytan is right in the middle over here in the Causeway of Zar. So he's like, you've got the rail line over here, really nice detail over there, and it's like just branching out this rail line. But the direct path is from north to south over here along the Causeway. And basically Zaytan's goal in the campaign here is to put down the rebellion that's happening in this location. To the west we have Kislev. So you have Astankia, Katrin. Now Katrin is gonna she starts a war with a bunch of peasants, so she's gonna lose supporters early on in her campaign. But she does have greenskins to deal with. But yeah, she does have a bunch of Kislev factions that she might want to wipe out. But there are some greenskins available. There are other factions available for her to deal with, like Vampire Counts. Kastalton does start with Erengrad over here. And one of the things that's really nice for Kislev here is that because these cities are starting and have their own full provinces, they're actually going to be far more useful than they are in vanilla. And also there's no initial major threat for these guys. Like, eventually you will have like Frot, Trog, Azag. Like, yeah, Azag starts in Kislev for whatever reason. Maybe Gremgor should have started over there as opposed to being Albion. I think that's one of the disappointment I have here. Like I like playing Gremgor, and I find it disappointing that he's stuck there in Albion, because Albion is, like, it's interesting for the first few turns, but then it becomes really boring after that pretty quickly. But yeah, Kislev is much larger than it is, and yeah, Astankia actually does start in freaking Kislev, which is, well, close enough to Kislev that it doesn't really matter all that much. And then you have the massive empire. You know, when you think about one of the most powerful civilizations in the Warhammer world, Warhammer fantasy world, yeah, this is the empire. It is freaking huge. You do have some high elves over here in the flats, in like close enough to Marienburg. I've put Alariel in control over here. You can choose. You can put Tyrion, or you can put Alariel, because Alifanar is on the map, Teclis is on the map, Elfarion is on the map, Imric is also on the map. So it's either going to be Alariel or Tyrion if you want to put them over there, or you can choose not to, right? Though you're going to deal with some climate issues in that situation. I recommend playing this mod with the climate penalty removal. But yeah, you see, like, Midland is a significant freaking powerhouse. Maybe Kazrak's campaign is less of a painful experience. Who am I joking? But you do have Festus over here starting a war with Skaven. You know, taking the Brass Keep, but he's also got vampires to deal with. If you're playing an Imperial campaign, Imperial Authority is interesting on this one. Because, yeah, the Empire does start with a huge amount of territory under its direct control, so they are really powerful, but there's also a significant amount of territory that is not under their control. And then yes, you do have like Draika over there, Darux in the middle of the empire. Oof, gotta feel bad for Talabaim. Talabaim is gonna be burnt to the freaking ground over here. Well, at least this particular province is gonna be burned to the ground. You do have Skaven over here in the River Talabek. What's weird, I would say, is like you have Altdorf, and it's like if you declare war on these guys, like, yeah, you're gonna suffer. I mean, you could confederate them, I guess. Like, you can force that confederation, but they're not electric counts, so yeah, just a bit weird. But you can upgrade Karl Franz's confederation capability to work with any imperial faction. So, you know, one of the things you might want to do if you're playing Karl Franz is to get Emperor of the Empire to upgrade the decrees so you can get that. But these guys are just there to hold the northern side of Altdorf. It might just be better to let them develop, but yeah, that's gonna hurt you a bit. I'd recommend playing this mod with like with campaign customization so you can grow these elements faster. That could benefit you. You're still at war with the Empire Secessionist. But yeah, Altdorf is, like, a lot of this would be considered, like, Altdorf. And then, yeah, you have Marienburg controlling Marienburg in itself. Like, really nice detail with the bridges, with these elements, with the walls around these elements. Like, really love that detail over there. But yeah, Festus, Kazrak, Tarks. Jeez, that's an interesting one. Vlad starting with Drakenhof, as you might expect, and in the mountains you have the angry dwarves in Karakadrin, which seems a tad bit more defensible than it was. They do have these two separate settlements, and you do start at war with those ogres, so it can be a bit awkward gaining control of that initial province. You do have Zufbar around Blackwater, just fully around Blackwater, with Zufbar over there. But yeah, we have Vlad over here, and two vampire factions, like one of them, and he starts a war with the Greenskins by the looks of it, as opposed to starting a war with starting a war with Tempelhof. So I imagine you could just be able to confederate. Then yeah, we have like Tomb Kings for whatever reason being present over here. Not quite sure what the logic is over there. Then we have Solent under its independent control. Bugman's Brewery right there, just controlling Bugman's Brewery. That makes sense. Carrick Norn, Durfu, as you might expect. What's interesting for the Empire here, by the way, is you look at the electric counts. You can see that there's some territory being claimed in Bretonnia itself. And then there's, yeah, some territory also claimed over here in the Border Princes territory. So there's a lot of the Empire, but you do start with 54% control of the Empire. That's where you start. You have Grom the Punch over here in Grungzint in the mountains, war with Skaven, so he has a province now. I would say Grom is possibly far more dangerous than he was originally. Lewin Leoncoeur right here at war with Vampire Coast. And then, yeah, various other factions. Lyonesse in itself. Moger right in the middle of Artois Forest. And you do have Kemmler right here in the Haunted Ridge at war with Paravan. Drakenfels, like all these lovely, lovely mountains. Orion at war with Quenel, not Paravan anymore. Ogres, Greenskins, Skrook. Bretonnia is a lot more dangerous this time around. And yeah, Mousillon controls a decent amount of territory as well. You have Albrecht and Bordelot. I don't know if I would want to deal with like his objective to take Sartosa, because it seems a bit more painful. But yeah, I really like what he's done for Kislev, what he's done for Bretonnia, because Bretonnia really does suck, and so does Kislev in the original game. And the Empire being a vast territory, it's also great, very fitting for the lore. And yeah, Orion, yeah, dealing with the situation over here. A bunch more Wood Elven factions than by default, so you can see like there's all these minor Wood Elven factions that were present in the mini campaign that the Wood Elves had. A lot of them, I think, like, pretty much all of them were present there. I don't think he invented necessarily any new one, but I think he's just using the ones that existed over there. But yeah, Fae Enchantress, she's starting a war with Greenskins, who have a interesting little banner right there. What's with that checkerboard banner? I have no damn clue. But, like, a lot of these Bretonnian icons were present in that Wood Elf mini campaign. What's interesting here is what really has been done for like the Skaven. So you have Deathmaster Snitch starting in the Gnaw Pit, but then you have Skaven Blight right here, which is significantly more powerful as a city because you do have all of these minor regions associated with it, and that makes Skaven Blight far more useful. It already was very useful because Wee Moly, it doesn't have a lot of building slots, and it has more, I think, in this. It has a lot more in this one than it does in the base game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So every single Skaven structure you can fit right into this, and of course the landmarks that you do have access in Skaven Blight. But yeah, this is going to be an economic powerhouse. You have Wulfric over here in Tylean territory, Estalian Tylean. No, that's Tylea to be certain, because like, yeah, Ebro River and all that. But you do have Estalia, you have Rakarth over here. So you have like Snitch, who starts in a decent enough position surrounded by a minor faction which he can easily defeat. And then you have like Ekeclaw. You also have Malagor over here in this location. And then you have the Angry Dwarf over here with Forakarmbrow starting in the Appuccini Mountains. Okay. But yeah, lots of potential over here for some of these factions, but also danger, because don't underestimate the Angry freaking Dwarf. And yes, minor Skaven factions present here as well. And then, yeah, Sartosa itself, which is more useful because it does have these two regions. So Sartosa as a province in the vanilla game can be kind of crap. Like, yeah, there's some nice resources over there, but there's also downside. So this is much better to have for Sartosa. It makes them more useful. Then yeah, Karakern, Karazak right there. Ooh, attacking Karazak when it's under AI control would be a bit nasty, because it's going to take multiple turns to be able to even reach that point, and it still has that substantial garrison by default. But yeah, then you have the Silver Road, so to speak. greenskins, bloody spears, corn, minor cornflakes over here. To the east, we have like the Darkland Bandits. Okay. Kafeans going on a suicide mission. Greece has already covered. Drazov over here in the Black Fortress 4 region, like at war with the Darkland Orcs. Then we have Gorst at war with the Lizardmen in the Haunted Forest. The Haunted Forest is more than just like the province itself, like it's all of this territory as well. And then that's a roadway to get to Nurgle. I love that he put an oil rig for the cast dwarves over here. That's so freaking awesome. Like, it's like, of course the cast dwarves would have a freaking oil rig. Like, it's these kind of details that really sell it. But the pathway into Nurgle's realm is through there. And yeah, Emmerich right here near the tomb. And I'm not quite sure where the fortress of there it is, the fortress of Vorag that you would want to take as Emmerich. So you start with the minor settlement. It might seem like a downside, but in reality, like I would say, like without starting with the barracks and minor settlement is actually an upside from my point of view. And then yeah, it's like Cripple Peak with Nagashizar, like dark and spooky over there. One of the best features that's always been with this map has been like the War of Caracade Peak. So you have Caracade Peaks over here, and you have like Queek, Skarsnik, and Belagar close enough to each other. You do have to deal with the upkeep penalty as Belagar. Maybe they'll change that at one point. And yeah, you do have Gelt over here. I believe his objective, unless it's been changed since the last time I played, his objective is like, it's no longer with Jiang Ming, it's with Teclis, so you can either stay over here in the Badlands or go back to the Empire. Though I'm not necessarily sure where he gets teleported. And yeah, obviously in the Empire you do have Elspeth, who starts in control of known city itself. But it's like you still have these vampires over here to deal with. Like I would say, Elspeth is in a pretty strong starting location over there when you consider that. We also have Clan Helheim. Maybe they'll survive this time around. We have you know, this is one of the things that I do like. Like, you look at Katep, you consider Katep. Katep is pretty pathetic in the vanilla game because he doesn't want to go into Khemri. Don't worry, we'll get into Khemri in just a moment because it's, like, understand, this is freaking huge, and Khemri in itself is freaking huge. And then, yeah, we have Elfarian in the Western Badlands. He doesn't have to deal with Tor of Res anymore. He's just focusing on the Badlands campaign. We do have more dwarves. And speaking about dwarves, I just want to mention that, you know, Karakazul is just going to be obliterated by Quake fairly quickly. I'm not sure I'm particularly happy with that, but hey, such as it is for him. And we have Nakai. Oof, Nakai in the Badlands, Nakai the Wanderer. Well, I guess it's better than being in freaking Cafe all the time, right? Over there. And we have Kugaf in Blightwater right there, and Greybeard Prospectors right there, Greenskins. And to the east, oh boy, to the east, we have Khalida in the City of Scholars. We do have Volkmar in the Cursed City, because apparently Volkmar is like, we will wipe out the eastern part of Nehekhara. Though I'm not sure I would consider this part of Nehekhara. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But like with the Realms of Chaos, this area is just not going to show properly unless you're actually there. But there's obviously a lot of terrain work. So you have Scrag, you have Sigvald right here, you have Noctilus, all contesting control over the Galleon graveyard, which, yeah, it's this entire location. Like, that's basically the Galleon graveyard. So this entire area is the Galleon graveyard. And I mean, it's even this particular province called the Galleon Graveyard. So we see the Darkness Daughters. And then we have Nehekhara. Jeez. Nehekhara. Holy crap. So, keep in mind, like, when you consider Nehekhara, gotta understand, like, Nehekhara kind of starts right here. All of this is freaking Nehekhara. Yeah, we have Cetra right here in Khemri. And I'd say, like, this really benefits Cetra, because in the original game, it's the problem, like, spending a lot of turns getting on that second army, all that kind of stuff. Here, while dealing with a lot of threats, here you don't have that particular problem. The Black Pyramid of Nagash is surrounded over here by, like, these buildings, these ruins, these buildings of Khemri. Black Pyramid itself surrounded by an archaeological expedition of the Empire, because apparently the Empire is just flat out suicidal. We do have Manfred at war with the Bretonnia, minor but Bretonian faction, and then yes, we do have the Nehekhara Brotherhood, some minor Tomb Kings right here, and the Guardians of the Valley. And then we have Arkhan the Black and the Black Tower, starting with the Black Tower of Arkhan. That makes perfect sense, but again, you know, more Bretonians to deal with. And then we have Rapans right here in the very south, in the Shifting Sands, starting a war with some ogres, the famished greenskins, ogres, Tomb Kings, Beastmen present here as well, City of Dust right there. We do have, I'm not sure what Nehekhara is doing here, because it kind of feels like a weird fit. But yeah, Lukthor Harkon makes sense, because he actually invaded Khemri with his fleet under the orders of Nagash. So he starts with the Wreck of Desolation. And that would be about it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this map is so freaking huge that even if I, you know, scroll, like, it's really hard to even see all of it on the freaking mini-map. Even if I scroll, like, you can't even see all of it on the mini-map because it's that gigantic. There's so many regions over here, so many factions. Now, it's so big, you won't really experience this in a single campaign, which is good. Like, you have that diversity in a campaign. Going for a global conquest on this, yeah, imagine conquering 1,200 regions or however many there are in this campaign. I imagine things could be a bit interesting if there were some portals around that you can use console command to teleport some armies around. Speaking about portals, where the heck is the changeling? Because I don't see him here, or I didn't see him over here. Maybe I just missed him. May not necessarily be that hard to find, but I imagine he's somewhere around here. I probably missed a couple of factions here and there. But yeah, that is the old world map. And what I would personally like, there is a way to kill a lot of these factions, because campaign customization, if we look, where is it? Mod configuration tool. So, campaign customization mod, you can kill a bunch of minor factions, and I'd recommend doing that, like 80%, 85%. You'll still have the major factions building territory. I'd also recommend giving them free levels in their campaign. Like, for whatever reason, that didn't trigger over here for, like, these various factions. But yeah, they should start with, or should get higher level lords to lead their armies. Certainly the other lords they'll get will be higher level, and that will make them more dangerous and useful in a campaign. That's all I had to say. Costin signing out. Stay tuned for more.